Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more AFL news to talk about, so without further ado, let's get straight into it. So for those of you guys who haven't heard, Joe Daniher has officially requested a trade. Now, there was actually some thoughts in my mind that I thought this deal might not actually be getting done, as the Tom Papley situation looked like it was starting to tighten up and started to look like he might be staying at the Sydney Swans. And obviously, if he stayed at the Sydney Swans, that means Essendon most likely wouldn't have enough trade pieces and assets to really try and trade for Joe Daniher from Essendon. But he has officially requested a trade, and a lot of people are still confused with the whole situation of why Daniher is wanting out. For those of you guys who didn't know, Joe Daniher pretty much wants out because he's sick of the medical staff from the Essendon Football Club. Pretty much doesn't think they're doing their job right. And I mean, with the amount of injuries he's had recently, I don't know if that's true or not. It could be, but yeah, I guess we will have to wait and see how good his body holds up at the Essendon Football Club, and also just based on the fact that he reportedly wants a fresh start. I think this is a pretty decent move from Sydney, and I hope it doesn't backfire for Sydney, and I hope that he does get able to get back to his best football and potentially get back from his injury, but he's missed a lot of football. It's been like a year to two pretty much since he's really played, so yeah, it's going to take him a very long time, I think, to get back into it. In 2019, he played a total of 4 games this year. In 2018, he played a total of 7 games. So you can buy that's 11 games in 2 years. That pretty much means he's missed a lot of football, and as I said, pretty much hasn't really played that much football for like 2 years now. I don't really know how many pre-seasons he's done as well. I think he was injured for quite a bit of them as well, and yeah, was kind of rushed back early were the predictions and thoughts that a lot of people had. People thought he was rushed back early a little bit in 2019. I don't necessarily know if that was the case, but obviously he hasn't been able to get back to his best football, which was obviously the 2017 season where he won the Anzac Day medal, the Mark of the Year, the Essendon Leading Goal Kicking Award, the All-Australian Team, and the W.S. Crichton Medal, I think that's how you say it, which is the Essendon Best and Fairest, I believe. So, yeah, hasn't obviously been able to get back to his best football and that 2017 season. But hopefully now, I guess it must be a better medical staff if he really wants to go to Sydney that bad. So I'm going to say, hopefully now with a better medical staff, take that with a grain of salt. So yeah, and then, as I said, better medical staff, I guess. And then hopefully with a fresh start, potentially Joe Daniher will be able to play pretty well in Swans. And yeah, that's hopefully what they're going to be thinking. Now, what are they going to have to trade for Joe Daniher is the question. Now, I think that Essendon might actually want a bit for Joe Daniher, and Sydney might have to actually overpay due to the fact that he still is contracted with the Essendon Football Club. But a lot of people are saying it could be two first-round picks and all this stuff, and the pick they potentially get from Papley. In my opinion, they should definitely not give that much up for Daniher. Daniher is an injured player that has barely played football for 2 years and has had a very bad injury record now in the past 2 years. No matter how good Sydney's medical team is, there is always still the scare of a potential injury for Joe Daniher. So, if I was Sydney, I would take this precautiously. And, yeah, just because he requests a trade, I don't think it's 100% yet, because there's always a chance that this deal could potentially fall through. Like, for example, if Essendon want too much for Joe Daniher, let's just say I think Sydney have pick number 9 or something like that, and they're going to get Carlton's pick. Actually, I think they have like 10 or 11. So let's just say 10. Carlton have 9 or whatever. Let's just say Essendon want 9 and 10. If I was Essendon, I definitely wouldn't trade those 2 first rounds for Joe Daniher, I don't think, just based on the fact that he has all these injury stuff. Now, I think it's going to come down to how the medical goes. If he goes up and does a medical with the Sydney Swans Football Club and they deem him to be okay and they think they can work with that, then yeah, maybe those 2 first rounds are what they need to give up. But if he fails the medical and does not do good in it, I think the Sydney Swans need to automatically and immediately pull out of this deal, because there is no way they should give up 2 first round picks for a player that had just failed a medical, if you guys know what I mean. So they can pretty much decide to pull out of the deal, and the deal won't actually end up getting done, and Daniher would have to play 1 more year with the Essendon Football Club, whether he's injured or not. Or then they can potentially, Sydney could pick him up in the free agency for 2020. That's the most likely situation I think could potentially happen if the deal does fail. I think either way, within the next year or something like that, he most likely will find his way at Sydney, whether that's being traded to them this year or potentially a free agent next year, as I do believe he will be restricted next year, I think. So, yeah, if they do decide to sign him, Essendon could potentially match it, which they most likely would if he has a good year, and then Sydney would have to give up some picks for him then, but yeah, I don't know if they should go off with the trade yet this year, because I think if they don't get him, they're probably going to have a pretty bad year anyway. But again, if he fails his medical, that's something that they definitely need to watch out for. And yeah, obviously players that fail medicals don't usually get picked up or traded for. For example, players like, Jack Trengove, who Port Adelaide tried to trade him to Richmond one year, I remember, and he went to the club and failed like a bunch of different medicals, didn't end up getting traded to Richmond, and he obviously never really got back to playing football again. And yeah, that's what a similar situation I think could happen with Daniher, but yeah, it just depends how bad Daniher's injuries are, and I guess that's what the medical test at the Sydney Swans will potentially tell us. But anyway, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest AFL content. Don't forget to comment in the comment section down below. What do you guys think Joe Daniher is worth? Do you guys think he'll be a Sydney Swans footballer next year, or do you think he's going to have to wait another year? I definitely would really like to know you guys' thoughts and opinions down below. So make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.